All right, so get to the game. It is Aztecs versus Ottomans. Uh, oh wait. Mito. No, Mito. Oh, Mito had French. Okay, never mind. Okay,
Yes.
and so he chose Ottomans, and Luke Tom goes with Aztecs. All right. All right. So, go ahead and what do you think about this matchup? I expect heavy aggression from Aztecs. It's hard to deal with Ottomans once they get to age 3, but you have a good timing window before that. Is that what you expect?
Yeah. You're right. This is a matchup that has a lot of aggression, I think, ingrained in it. Um, Ottoman versus Aztec, they've got a lot of H2 options that are fairly powerful, whether it's Jan Abis or the Aztec Rush and stuff like that. On the other hand, on this map, with the amount of resources it has, as well as that early trade post, I could see Mito going for Dairuga's Bane, which is the Ottoman fast fortress.
Uh huh.
Um, and I think that Ottoman definitely have the tools to be able to do that. So it's going to be one of those two options for sure. I do see Look Tom looking to, be the aggressor, excuse me, and rush this game. But we'll have to see how the players actually play this out. I'm not too familiar with the matchup just because I don't play a lot of Ottoman, either against or as. And I'm a little bit more familiar with the Aztec side of it, but we'll have to see what the players bring to the table in that one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Um, it is worth noting. One of the it, I don't know. Team is so different than 1v1. Ottomans doesn't have a really hard counter to cap. Janissaries are pretty good, but it's not in H2 that is. But it's not it's not a really high attack unit. It's a compared to Musk, average Musk, they're really high HP, and that's their strength. But they're not really high attack, and you have to go into melee to do well versus them. You don't have a pike type unit, and you don't have a you don't have cavalry archers or something like that in H2, of course. But that is an advantage when it comes to against Aztecs, because Coyote runners are a little bit lackluster compared to like Hussar or the like. So when it comes to units, I expect some if it is going to be H2 fighting, I expect some Avis out from Ottomans, Mace out from Aztecs, and Avis should do fare pretty well into Mace, I think.
They definitely should. Aegis guns are, amazing units, right? The micro potential, especially in the hands of a player such as Mito, right? But the
Right.
micro potential of the Aegis gun is through the roof. They have a ton of attack. They have, range advantage over the Mace Sultan as well. So, no, I agree with your analysis. Well, however, um, just as I was about to say that, like with that wall that Mito just put up, as well as aging with the outpost wagon,
Uh huh.
I have a feeling that Mito's just going to be going for a straight FF and maybe looking for some Falconet Jan, which is of course a perfectly valid strategy against the Aztec agenda.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Um, and with that walling. I wonder how far he's going to take that walling. If he's going to wall more, or if he's just going to leave it like that. I think it's fine to leave it like that. Looking at the cards in his deck, Ottomans really only has the 5 Janissaries and 3 Hussar in H2 for military shipments. We'll see and confirm that it is 700 coins sent next. But yeah, I agree with you with that walling. It is expected. It is 700 coins. So definitely expected to be an FF from him at this point. I think that's probably a good choice. You have good options into Aztec Age 2, but if you can get an FF off, you're going to be so much stronger. Age 3, you're much stronger than Aztec in Age 2. So the FF from Aztec is fairly lackluster. It really only gives you access to Eagle Runner Knights. Jaguar Prowl Knights, not that great. And Jaguar Prowl Knights can make some highlight reels, but in general, they're not that great. Arrow Knights are pretty good too, but they're only useful against cannons. The Eagle Runner Knights, though, are good, but versus the infantry mass from Ottomans, not so much.
Yeah, no, I am in agreement with you on that one. The Eagle Runner Knights were really amazing units, but I don't think that the Aztec Fast Fortress is going to be fast enough to deal with the Ottoman Fast Fortress.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, I'm not even sure that Aztec is going H3 as of yet.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what his agenda is, but he's gathering coin, he's sending wood, and he's gathering food. If I have a look at units in queue, it does look like we have some Puma Spearmen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be like some sort of a siege push, but I don't see that doing enough to really counteract the Ottoman plan, the Ottoman strategy here.
Yeah, Mito's already over half aged. The war huts are not super far forward, and yeah, even if he ships 6 Puma at the same time as making 10, he actually ships the mace. It's still not enough. We see that Mito is already training Janissaries, and it's looking really good from him. I do agree with the decision, regardless of what your opponent does. You might need to put pressure early as Aztecs, but either way, you're going to need to. You should stay H2 for a while. Going to H3 does not give Aztec a huge advantage. It doesn't give you access to cannons or anything of the like. It doesn't even give you access to really good unit shipments. It gives you access to some more, but yeah, I agree with staying H2. Looking at this fight, though, the Cav get in on the mace, but the Puma get in on the Cav. Everyone backs off, and just some good sieging out from the Puma, and we'll see when Mito takes this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. The Puma are doing a really good job at pushing away the Hussar, but the town center and the outpost and even the Janissaries almost are actually doing a fairly good job at trading against the Mace Sultan. As counterintuitive as it is for Jans to trade against Mace, and now 2 Falconets on the field for Mito, and this is going to be a complete push away because Aztec does not have any of the necessary tools to deal with Falconets at this point in the game.
Yeah, I took a look at the Aztec deck earlier. One thing that could be really, really nice in this matchup that I wouldn't exactly expect, it's not common, but and perhaps of Mito's caliber, he would even wise up to it and keep his Explorer nearby. But Stealthy Coyotes could be a nice touch. It would give you an option versus Avis Mass or Falconets. But yeah.
Well, yeah, because the stealth that does allow you to set up a flank like really effectively, get on top of the Falconets when they're out of position, and kind of pick your own fight. And it's fairly atypical enough that I don't think that most players would see it coming.
Yeah.
But at that point, look, Tom does not quite have that card in the deck. He does have a ton of Puma on the field. He has a bunch of Coyote runners as well. So maybe something will happen here if the Coyotes can get a good position on the Falconets, but I don't know that he will be able to get the trade that he wants.
Yeah, the Janissaries go into melee mode, and the Coyotes go all around, and they don't even take... well, I was going to say they don't take a Falconet to half HP. They do indeed, but they both stay alive. Really, really good fight from Mito there. Excellent micro. You couldn't have asked for any better in that situation.
Good FF, not expected. GG.
Well, that was fast.
It was a very clean victory, to be fair. Mito is top 2, if not top 1 player in the world. So, look, Tom, as good as he is, not quite the caliber to face off against Mito. Though the games that I've seen were very honest, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I get you to co-cast, and the game is super fast. Not a long game like almost all of the other ones today so far. So Yeah, I guess I guess luck's on the side there. But yeah, good game. Yeah, as Tom was saying, he wasn't expecting it. I feel like it, I think he's in the right to not expect it because the expected thing from Ottomans is, all right, I got to deal with this Aztec rush and make units. But Mito going against the norm and going against that, and to be honest, the rush from Liptom was not very fast. It could have been faster for sure. Looking at his build order, it was 3 bills, 700 wood, 10 mace. We'll look at the military unit population, see when he got all of that out. 6 minutes is when he got the mass out. That's just too slow for that. I'm not sure what went wrong there, but something certainly did.
And the choice of units as well was a little bit awkward. I mean, sure, you get some Puma out, and they were able to siege down that mosque, and they were able to get to work on the outpost as well. But realistically speaking, like that's not any damage that's going to be effective against what Ottoman is doing. So a little bit of an awkward rush right there. I think you're right that Luke Tom was a little bit blindsided, but very clean, decisive victory for Mito right there.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Are we going to be casting another match after this?
I do believe so. Let's get in touch with Comic K and see what he has set up. Can also have a look at the brackets real quick.
All right. I am going to go to stream overlay and we will be back with you guys in just a minute, guys. Hey guys, just a little bit of an update. The next match will be Prince of Kabul versus Mongobillione. I thought I pronounced that correctly. But it should be a really good match, and we will get to you shortly, just letting you guys know. Welcome back, guys. This is the round of 8, Prince of Kabul versus Mongobillione. Did I pronounce that right, iNcog?
Beats me. I just say Mongobillion. And then forget
Mongobillion?
about it. Yeah, but I'm
Okay.
lazy.
Prince of Kabul versus Mongobillion. Jailed casting, iNcog co-casting. The map is Kamchatka. I'm gonna let them know it's winter version.
Yep.
And what is it? Brits in Japan, their primary civs?
I believe so. Prince of Kabul's is definitely Japan because I did cast his previous series against Daniel.
Okay.
Very fun games in that one. And then it does look like Mongobillion did select the British as his premier civilization.
All
So
right. Nice.
this will be our first matchup. Kind of an even one, in my opinion. I think that both civilizations have the tools to defeat the other.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who you talk to, though, some people will favor the other civilization. So I don't know.
I think I would favor Japan a little bit. Um, I would say Brits has a slightly better boom early, but not enough to tip the balance in their favor very much. And then later, I would say the military units are just better for Japan generally. Of course, when it comes to cannons, flaming arrows are great, but Colorins counter them really strongly. There's Yabusami thrown in there. Um, yeah, we need to Yep. I guess it wasn't observer version.
It was not, I believe.
Yeah.
But no worries, we shall rehost. But yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you. I think that the British have a slightly earlier, faster boom, but not necessarily a stronger one.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like the British can eke out a timing that actually does fare really well against Japan as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I honestly really just think it comes down to player skill. But
Yeah, for
I
sure. I agree with you completely. It's definitely closer than some matchups for sure. Um, yeah.
but anyway, we are selected into this map with the correct settings this time.
Correct. Oh,
So
I need to green up. I thought I already did, but there we go. This is game number 1 between Mongobillion versus Prince of Kabul. Jailed casting, iNcog co-casting. The map is Kamchatka winter version, and we will get into it. Yeah, British versus Japan. Mongobillion spawning in green as British, and Prince of Kabul spawning in red as Japan. We were talking a little bit about the matchup already, but on this map, do you think it favors either Civ more or less? Or,
not necessarily. It's definitely a good British map just because of the amount of resources, the amount of hunts you have at your disposal. But Japan has always done very well on this map as well. I think Kamchatka is probably one of the maps where the most civilizations are viable, if that makes sense. It's probably my favorite map, to be perfectly frank. But yeah, so we'll see how this pans out. As far as the players go, I would favor Prince a bit over Mongo, though. I think it has to be said. So we'll have to see.
yeah, I'm familiar with Prince of Kabul. Mongobillion, not as much, but definitely a good player. He's made it to round of 8 in the tournament, so he's obviously doing something right. Um, and I've heard his name before. I just am not super familiar with him. Um, Looking at it, it looks like it was a wood start. So consulate, of course, going out for Japan, and double manners for Brits. It is worth noting that, yeah, good fight going on over there. And it looks like Prince of Kabul actually... No, Mongobillion takes that. I thought Prince of Kabul did, but it is Mongobillion. Does take the goats, though, so... It is 85 wood over to Mongobillion. That's pretty big. But he loses. PrinceofKabul loses a goat there.
Yeah, he actually managed to lose one of the goats to Mongo, so good on Mongo for being able to steal both a treasure and a goat. So that's really giving him some good momentum moving forward, especially since it's an 85 wood treasure. So that's a
Yeah.
really good one to steal from Japan, I think. So some nice solid play out of Mongo right off the bat. Really digging it.
Yeah, for sure. 85 wood. It's worth noting that's in a situation like that. That's not only 85 wood for you. That's 85 away from your opponent. So it's a 170 wood swing for you, and 170 wood is a lot early on. So really good from them. With that wood, an extra mana is put up by Mongobillion, and that is that's an extra villager right off the bat.
Nope, you're completely correct. And I think that Mongobillion managed to snag himself another treasure. So this time we're looking at an 80 coin treasure stolen by Mongo. And really, Prince at this point must be a little bit annoyed at the constant presence of the British explorer around all the treasures that he's been attempting to gather. So that's setting a good tempo advantage, I think, for the green player. But of
Yeah, for
course,
sure.
nothing that would end the game in Prince's disfavor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely not the end of the game, and it's there's a lot left to be played. But that is some really strong advantages. So if it was just wood and coin and nothing came of it, it wouldn't be that much different. But a villager from the manor house, because of the wood, is actually really big. That is effectively a villager for that's a villager lead for a long time. That's I would guess somewhere around 3 minutes or so. That 85 wood is really going to pay off.
Oh, yeah, you're completely correct. The value of that wood treasure translating into a villager cannot be understated. So really strong position for Mongobillion right off the bat. Not too sure about what we're going to be seeing out of both players. I'm looking at a shrine boom, I believe, from PrinceofKabul. But Mongobillion most likely just going to be going for some standard British play. I imagine 700 and 600 wood crates into perhaps 700 coin age up, perhaps some aggression. We do have a barracks going down in the middle of the map.
And an
So yeah,
outpost there
looking to
too.
turn up the heat. I'm sorry?
And an outpost coming forward too.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, as well.
yeah, so yeah, it's very aggressive barracks. It's definitely not defensive. We know that British has the ability to kind of boom it out a little bit, and it is definitely an option versus Japan. I think the tempo of the game is kind of in the Brits' favor early. They have the ability to rush pretty hard, definitely, in my opinion, harder than Japan. Uh, so it's up to them whether they want to put pressure early or they want to um, boom it out a little bit, and in this case, definitely choosing to put some pressure early. Second barracks coming out already. There is still only 3 manors. Is that correct? Yeah, still only 3 manors out for. No, you built a couple more. All right, so 5 manors out for Mongobillion. It's definitely not a manor boom though for him, and we see the pikes already taking down a shrine.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting some pikemen out, some longbowmen are in queue as well. So Mongobillion is going to be looking to, as you mentioned, just get some pressure out on the map and prevent Japan from free booming the way that they want to. However, not quite seeing the enlist irregulars out of the Japanese player as we did against Daniel in his game. So if for anyone who had seen that series, of course. But yeah, I'm not disliking Prince's position too much, but yeah, but both players just kind of posturing, I think.
Yeah, 31 to
Really,
30 eco pop, 12 to 5 military pop. we see that the 7 longbow have come out and are picking. They pick off a Yumi. Nice little start to that engagement there, and the pikes. Where did the pikes just? They went back, but they should be going forward to siege down some shrines. The explorer going and exploring those shrines. So, yeah, pikes and longbow. It looks like out for Mongobillione. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess that's a good choice. I feel like you'd be playing into your opponent's hands if they want to mix in some Ashy, since longbow are so bad versus heavy infantry.
Yeah, you're right on that one. That longbowmen are not exactly the most efficient unit in a straight up fight against musketeer type units. They are fairly cost effective though, and they do outnumber the Japanese army for the time being. So not super clear cut, but I don't disagree with you. We have some Bisteros being added from the Portuguese consulate as well, so that's going to add some firepower to the Japanese army. But these pikemen are just doing a number. Another shrine does go down, and now they'll be able to take these out pretty much uncontested. So not a bad position, I think, for either player, but I don't know. The scores reflect a British advantage.
Yeah, it is 40 to 35 economic difference. The 4 villager shipment just comes in for Kabul. Looking at Mongobillione, let's look at the eco cards he has left to send. Nothing really besides crates. The Cav are coming forward straight into the army, and 1 goes down, 2 goes down, and Mongobillione definitely did not react to that very fast. 3 goes down in that engagement. The longbow are kind of cutting off the approach from the opponent, but the armies are very, very similar size.
Yeah, no, you're right. Nonetheless, 3 Hussar going down for Mongo, kind of for free. The British player is retreating a little bit, but getting snared, and a few units do actually go down. The trade somehow, despite the armies looking so equal, it seems to be favoring PrinceofKabul as of right now. I think the positioning is just slightly better. 3 Hussar do join the fight, however, and PrinceofKabul will have to, retreat as well. So, yeah, definitely a nice exchange there, I think. Hard to say if it gives an advantage to one or the other, but maybe slightly favor Prince. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that one.
Yeah, it was really close all around. I was gonna say it maybe slightly favors Mongobillione, so I think that just shows how close it actually was. Definitely within a few units for sure. We see that PrinceofKabul is putting up more shrines. He is down to 110 population, which means that he has 8 shrines out on the field. Pike's going down now over here and gonna catch the shrines just as they go up. That's definitely an advantage over to Brits with all the pressure on the shrines there.
Yep, no, for sure. The Japanese army is on its way out to kind of cover these shrines, but the British army is pushing out at the same time. 5 Hussar on the field for Mongobillione. And I think that Japan is outgunned as of right now, but the British player does not push the advantage.
Yeah, I agree with you. You never know what the opponent has, and we see that Mongobillione is switching over to musketeers. So I mentioned that longbow are not very good versus heavy infantry, having a 1.25 multiplier versus them. Yumi are also less than average skirmisher type units, having only a 1.5 versus heavy infantry. Higher base attack though, little bit less range, 4 less range, 2 more attack, and also having more HP than the longbows, so 5 more. So the army from Brits do get in on the 2 shrines up here, and one of them's going down. The second one may just go down before Japan tries to engage. It does... No, it doesn't. It's on 6 HP. But the fight comes in here, and this is a big engagement. If the one team comes away with a really big advantage over this fight, it could mean the game. And it's looking pretty close. The longbows are on to the side, but the military pop is 38-30 currently. Lots of Ashi there. Very few longbow type unit or skirmisher type units left for Japan. Looks like, yeah, Mongobillione is going to take this fight, and looking really rough for Prince of Kabul here.
Yep, some more reinforcing Hussar are coming in for Mongo at this point, and they will connect with the Japanese army. Japan getting pushed away there. Both Ashi and Musketeers did have the attack upgrades in, but yeah, that was quite the bloody fight. Thankfully, Prince of Kabul does not lose the entirety of his army, and they do disengage, prior to it being a complete wipe. But yeah, very, very bloody battle for sure.
Yeah, that one, I think definitely advantage over to Mongobillione there. And he builds up his army at mass a little bit more. It's 43-19 military pop. It is defender's advantage over to Prince of Kabul, so if he plays this right, uses the pops from the stable and the barracks, and TC fire, Minutemen, and a card, it could be really, really nice for him here. Let's see how this goes though. TC firing on the units, and Minutemen come out now. That's just the irregulars, not the sentries. And we'll see what happens with the rest of this fight, but it's looking pretty good for Mongobillione. Only 11 military units left for Prince of Kabul. He builds another batch, Yamabushi coming out now, getting in on the opponent. 26 military pop, 10 of it coming from behind. I think Prince of Kabul might just hold this.
It's going to be a tricky hold if he does. Some more reinforcing Musketeers do join the fight. 5 Naginata do come out. They are going to connect with the longbowmen. But not quite enough weight on the field for Prince to really eject the British army out of his base. Oh, and the orchard does, run out at that exact time. So Prince is going to have to send cherry orchards, which is the last thing that he wants to be sending in this situation, which is just this one. Very, very dicey. I think Prince could actually... Well, the cherry orchards do come in now. But that's a lot of units from the British player.
Yeah, it is. It's looking really good for Brits. It is even on economy, 53-52. Militarily, 34-18. It is worth noting defender's advantage over to Prince of Kabul. That could play a big role in the next few moments. One thing I would have liked to see is as soon as the cherry orchard goes down, make sure your TC has all 10 villagers so that you're firing on your opponents and doing as much damage as possible. You're not gathering food anyway, so you're not able to do a whole lot with those villagers in transition.
Absolutely correct. But at this point, we do have both attack and HP upgrades on these musketeers for the British player. They're going to be very difficult for the Japanese player to deal with, just because the Ashi are not quite the most cost-effective musketeer unit in the game before they get their upgrades stacked. And now this town center is actually getting sieged down. Looks like a fight is going to be forced here by Prince of Kabul, but that's too much green, I think. Oh,
it's
but
close.
reinforcing Ashi.
Using the villagers to tank, that's a good choice, but you don't want to lose too many. The military is 15-8. I think Prince of Kabul has just barely held this by the skin of his teeth. More longbow coming in from behind, but it's 14-2, now 23-2. Very, very close. And maybe Prince of Kabul is not holding this. It's hard to say.
Whether or not he does hold, one thing that is unquestionable is the amount of damage that Mongobillione has just done. So many villagers going down for Prince. 5 Ashi do join the fight. They are shipped from the home city. But 5 Hussar join the fray. And yeah, that's not looking very good for Prince of Kabul at all. I think he's crippled at this point. He lost too many villagers.
Yeah, he also had no one gathering food for almost that whole entire time. Ever since he garrisoned inside his TC, no one was gathering food. I agree with you. It is a huge eco damage, and I don't know. I don't know if he can recover. If you look at the economy, it's 60 to 49, so 11 difference. Fairly early, another villager goes down, and that TC is on a third HP now, a quarter HP, and it's it might be it for Prince of Kabul. Really well played from Mongobillione, if so.
Yeah, absolutely. These last 5 Ashi getting chased away by the Hussar, they will turn around and fight. They do have the advantage being anti-cavalry, but, you know, it's still not quite enough. This is a reminiscence to the Last Samurai movie at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Last Samurai, getting the Yamabushi in there, and more villagers going down by the TC. That is 640 HP left on that TC. I think it's just going to be GG, honestly. Prince of Kabul has been starved of food for so long. His shrines are on food, but yeah. TC is going to go down, and all the villagers with it. I'm pretty sure Prince of Kabul is going to call GG here.
Yep, absolutely. He does call GG right before the 10 does go down.
Yeah.
And, wow, what a game, actually. I did not actually expect this outcome, to be perfectly frank. But Mongo does pull a win out of his hat.
Such a stupid start. It's a best of 3, right?
Yeah, his treasures.
Yeah.
So, Prince of Kabul, asking if it's a BO5, it is actually a best of 3. So he does have 2 more games to wiggle out a win for the series, but indeed he does, you know, drop the first map to Mongo. That's really well played by Mongo on that one.
Yeah, for sure. It's when you're playing Brits into Japan, like you were saying, there are some windows of opportunity, but you have to hit those just right, and you have to thread the needle perfectly. Otherwise, it can be really rough. I did not look at the post game stats. My bad. Did you? Are you still in the game? Do you want to point anything out?
I am. Nothing too much of note. There is a point in time around the 13-minute mark where villagers stopped getting produced, and after that they actually trickle down one by one, almost as if he were deproducing villagers. Kind of funny. And that kind of, I think that says kind of where the game was lost. The start of the map, the start of the game as well, when he got all his treasures stolen, was very tricky, I think, for Prince.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good enough to eke a win out of that one.
Yeah. One villager, one extra villager. How long do you have the game time for that game?
Not anymore, but I have it in my mind. What's your question?
I actually can see it on the stream because there's a 2-minute delay. It was around 18 minutes, 17:30 to 18 minutes, yeah, basically having one extra villager because of that start is really big. Over 18 minutes, that is roughly. Let's see if I can do the math real quick for you guys. I'm just going to use a calculator because I don't trust myself to do math at this point. But if that is just gathering from, say, even wood that whole time, let me do the math. Times 18. That's 540 wood over that time, and that's huge. So, honestly, that treasure swing might have meant the game, honestly. 540 wood, or the equivalent of basically around 1,000 food, is that's enough to swing those fights.
Yeah, no, you're right. That the value just added up throughout the entire game, and it was kind of nuts.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Mongo saying he must have pested Prince right before the game. Pretty interesting. Accidentally, of course.
Yeah, of course. Accidentally, in quotations. All right, so Mongobillion versus Prince of Kabul. This is game number 2. Mongobillion takes game number 1, and it is jailed casting, iNcog co-casting. Mongobillion is going to choose Spain.
That's a pretty
Ooh,
interesting choice on this map.
yeah, that's
But I
really
do
interesting.
like Spanish civilization. It's actually one of my favorites now. I have come to think about it.
It's one of my favorites too. I will say it's one of my favorites specifically in team. I I can't remember the last time I saw Spain blind picked though. Um,
Yeah, because there are definitely answers to the Spanish civilization.
yeah,
So
yeah. Even oftentimes when Spain is picked, it's picked into like Ottomans or something. And we did see in the last match, Keister versus Nuschelbeer, we did see Spain come out on top of Ottomans, but generally speaking, from what I've seen in the games I've casted in 1v1, it has been Ottoman coming out on top. But yeah, where did you go?
I was kicked, but I'm not sure why. We'll figure it out
He
here.
said, "Oops, I kicked you." All right, that's
That's
okay.
fine.
Uh, you should tell him that he automatically loses a game for kicking the namesake of the tournament.
Yeah. Actually,
Benefit
while
of
we are on
S.
that topic, though, I do want to thank the previous donors, Xili Flower, Zuda Zuda, and Minimal21. They added a large amount of money to the prize pot, making Empire Cup 2 possible. And of course, they actually fully funded Empire Cup number 3 as well. So the donation
Nice.
bar, for the time being, is actually for Empire Cup 4. And we have 2 tournaments to fund that. I have a little bit of cash that I have saved up for that, so I will be donating either later today or tomorrow. But yeah, some of my money will go into that. So yeah, big thank you to all of you, and a big thanks to you as well for casting all of these games.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. I'm always happy to support the AoE3 community and do everything I can to help it grow, both in quality and quantity. Um, yeah. Getting into this game, it is Mongobillion spawning in Spanish or spawning in green as the Spanish, and Prince of Kabul spawning in red as the French. 1v1 on this map. I don't think I've actually seen a 1v1 on this map yet. 2v2, the players spawn pretty far from each other, so I think it favors heavy aggression. 3v3, 4v4, with the water on the back and just the strong potential to boom, you usually see some water play, and if there is a rush, it's got to be really, really hard rush. Otherwise, it generally doesn't work. 1v1, what's your take on this map?
1v1. So unlike you, I follow 1v1 a bit more closely than I do team, and Baja California has been in the map pool for a little while now. So I have seen a few games on this map, and this one is definitely one of the stranger maps. The rush distance, excuse me, is indeed a little bit further out. The map is really big, and you have sea on both sides of the map that can be taken pretty much uncontested. So, and trade posts in that mix as well. So a little bit of a less standard map, but I have seen a ton of good games on this one. As for the matchup specifically itself, we have France versus Spain. We're definitely going to see, I mean, definitely. I imagine that we're going to see a Spanish fast fortress, and then the French player can answer with either, something classic like a semi, maybe some H2 aggression. I'm not too sure what the proper answer from the French side of it actually is.
I
And this is a good map, I think, for the Spanish Fast Fortress. You have your trade post. You have some wiggle room to get to the next stage. I'm excited. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, let me update the score. I think I had that wrong the whole time. My bad, guys, if that was the case. Mongobillion is up 1-0, and yeah, good to see it. Yeah, up 1-0. It is Spanish versus French. He blind picked Spain into France, and France, I think kind of has the edge here.
I would agree.
Until you have like unction coming out. It's just every advantage I feel like is in. The one thing that Spain has that France doesn't have is Spain has a better navy. Um, they do have a better navy. France does not have the schooners card, which isn't essential on EP to booming on water, but he doesn't have it. Also, looking at his deck, he has pioneers. He has several crates in Age 2. Definitely, it looks like a deck that's just kind of prepared for everything, but absolutely no water at all. No, not even warship cards, which on this map I would kind of expect some warship cards. Looking at Spain's deck, he does not have any warship cards. Looking at his deck, though, it definitely looks like an FF for me.
Yeah. It looks like both players are going to kind of opt to ignore the water completely.
Yeah.
Which is something that can happen on this map. Neither Spain nor France are particularly known for like heavy water play, to the same point as, for example, like Portuguese or Japan or British, something like that, you know. So I guess they kind of came to a sort of gentleman's agreement to forget about the water and then just play a standard 1v1 land. It looks like Spain is actually going for ATP and is going to try to set up all 3 trade posts.
Yeah, it can be a nice touch. Looking at the natives, it is Navajo. Navajo are a skirmisher type unit, pretty decent. And yeah, Spain on RE has pretty decent water, but on EP not as much. Spanish Gold, while it's an amazing shipment and it's very good on EP, it also nerfs the water of Spain, making them have one less card that benefits their galleons tremendously. So, yeah, Spain on EP, not super strong on water. France, arguably one of the worst ones, though, having only one card that affects their warships, and not having schooners is rough on that. But it is, like you were saying, going to be no water on this map. Double barrack start out from France. That is a little bit unexpected, I think. I suppose...
That is pretty nice. I was not expecting this, but please go on and finish your thought.
I'm trying to think it through. If your opponent is going... if your opponent is Spain and he is expecting some cab, he may go with some rods to kind of counter that, and then muskets would be a nice start. But we see that Prince of Kabul just starts with the pikes, starting with the pikes, getting some damage onto the trade posts, and he has more pikes in queue. At least 6 are going to pop out, it looks like. 8 pop out, so he has 18 pikes on the field already. Definitely not what I expected from France, but Spain gonna do an FF behind this. He's already aging. 700 wood just shipped in. Did not send 5 bills yet. He may do so. And yeah, that's a lot of pikes.
That is a ton of pikes. It looks like Prince is actually going to be investing in taking back the trade line almost immediately. But this is not what I was expecting out of Prince at all. It's really aggressive against the trade route, I guess, which is good. The Explorer does go down for the French player, though, so he won't be able to put down a TP immediately. Other thing of note is that Mongo did not research Stagecoach, that I can tell.
Yeah, no, it's not researched. I was told recently, and it's a really good tip. If there is double lines on the trade route, that means that Stagecoach was researched. If it's just single, it was not researched. So
yeah, correct. It is no longer just the travel making a rut. It is a Stagecoach with wheels, making that
even if it's not actually a Stagecoach, due to it being like an Asian map or something. It's still accurate. A house going down for Mongobillione. He is at 30 out of 50 pop. That's not going to affect his units coming out too much. It's obviously 100 wood advantage over to Prince of Kabul, and well, XP advantage and negative advantage or disadvantage to Mongobillione. But this is peculiar. Lots of units out from Prince of Kabul. Not what I expected. Expo and Pikes. If I expected Expo and Pikes from either Civ, if I had to guess, it would have been Spanish, by all means. But he does not do that. It is an FF from him. It's pretty strong army, 32 to 18. We see there are Pikes, muskets out for Mongobillione, and we'll see what he does with it.
Mongobillione should be able to get a Falconet shipment out, I think, in the near future. Taking this fight this early, though, just to save that house that he doesn't even manage to do. Not too sure about that one, that move. There is a lot of infantry on the field for the French player at this point. So Mongobillione just kind of on the back foot. He does need to buy time for those Falconets to hit the field. And he does not have enough coin for Minutemen. 136 instead of 150.
Yeah, the Falconets do pop and gets a decent volley. Could have been better, but the military advantage is already kind of in Mongobillione's favor. 24 to 22, but those Falconets are worth more than their actual population. The Pikes do go over to the shore. Perhaps they're just trying to find and see if there is any docks down, but no docks in an FF. Not to be expected, at least. At this point, Prince of Kabul not even remotely close to aging. Mongobillione, I think, is in a pretty good position. 35 to 25 economically. Pretty good for Prince of Kabul, but the Falconets are going to prove to be very effective here, I think.
They definitely are. One thing that does have... Okay, so you're just going to walk on top of those bills? Like, you should... No. There you go.
Yeah, I was expecting the Bills to turn on them, and they will.
Yeah, they will. Villagers do very well against artillery, and some five Hussar are joining the fray. There is not enough anti-cav here for the Spanish player, I think, to deflect this attack. Ooh, this may have been an overstep, I think, for Mongobillione.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say necessarily an overstep, but definitely a mismicro. He was not paying attention to his units there, and he definitely needed to. And at the same time, the Pikes and the Expo and Muskets are back in Mongobillione's base. This game just strongly swung in the favor of Prince of Kabul. Really well done by him, and we'll see what, just taking advantage of that situation as much as possible. And yeah, Mongobillione, no two Falconets. Minutemen come out and out for him, but I think the damage has kind of already been done. He gave... Mongobillione kind of just gave a big advantage over to Prince of Kabul with mismicroing those Falconets, and yeah, we'll see if Prince of Kabul can push this to even a bigger lead or not.
Yep, I read 5 Lancers on the field. I think this is definitely one of the shipments that you want to send in a situation such as this one. These Musketeers are French and thus cannot be upgraded in any relevant way in the colonial age, at least not, easily. So the Lancers are going to do fairly well against what Prince has on the field right now. There are some Hussar, but the numbers, on the other hand, do favor Mongobillione. So a little bit of a dicey situation. I think it's even-ish, but it probably favors Prince if I had to,
Yeah, there's some Minutemen in there for Mongobillione too, so the Minutemen definitely, obviously not pop efficient at being on 1 HP. But we do see that Mongobillione is trying to get back to the TP line, and he was going to, and then he kills the Explorer of Prince of Kabul. And yeah, 31 to 29 military pop, economically 33 to 27. I'm really curious how the rest of this is going to play out. Neither player is going C. On AP, even if you don't have a C deck, it is still an option due to the fishing boats costing 70 wood base cost. And I think what I'd really like to see is some skirmishers. We do see some skirmishers. Skirmishers out from Mongobillione, I think, is a really good choice.
Skirmishers are going to do really well in this situation. There's not a lot of range from the French army at this point. The Musketeers are nice, but they they are short range compared to the skirmishers. However, Prince has opted for the safe and I think the smart play in this situation. He is just going to click up to the next stage, at which point he will have access to his Falconet shipments, as well as Dragoons and many other wonderful units that the French have in their army. Spain, on the other hand, I almost want to see more Lancers, just given the amount of Musketeers on the field. Maybe throw in some rods in there, kind of swamp it. But skirmishers work too. It's like a chef's preference at this point, you know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Certainly, skirmishers are pretty good, and I don't know. I kind of don't expect musketeers to be very common. Oh yeah, nice pickup from the Cav of Kabul, making full advantage of his Cav there, and he pulls back. He's definitely, one thing that can be said is he has had really good micro this game. Is significantly better than Mongobillione, and that's not a detriment or anything. It's just he didn't do super well there. Goons coming out now for Mongobillione, and the first barracks down. Falconet's out for Prince of Kabul here though. Let's see how he uses it. Good volley onto the skirms. That's 2 skirmishers down. He needs to get 1 more shot, and he takes 2 more down with the second shot. So really nicely done from him. I do like the native scout out here from Prince of Kabul.
Yeah, that's a really good scout. Spotting the villagers on that mine, he's going to be setting up a very good raid. There are some pikemen in the area that will be able to help defend, but I could see a villager or 2 going down. But yeah, but the crux of it is that the French player at this point has the falconets on the field, and that gives it gives Prince of Kabul like the ranged advantage in this point because there's not enough skirmishers to win in a ranged versus ranged situation. There is a raid going up here from Mongo, but those are Dragoons against CDBs. It's a very slow raid, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not as strong as Hussar versus Spanish villagers. We have a fight coming up here. The Falconets move pretty far forward, but it's not within handshaking distance of the opponent. And we see the skirm's doing decent. So it's going to be gendarme, muskets, and a couple falconets out from Prince of Kabul. For Mongobillione, I don't think you have a whole lot of options here. I think you have to go skirms, and he's going lancers. I don't agree with that. Gendarme just are, in a way, kind of counter other hand cav. They do so well versus them. But maybe it's enough. It's a pretty big army, 66 to 63. Whatever happens here could decide the game. The falconets do get engaged upon, and the goons are focusing on the falconets instead of on the cav, and the gendarme take down the goons. The rods and lancers go around the side, but it looks like the lancers just completely clean up the muskets. So the gendarme focus the goons instead of focusing the lancers, and it looks like it's actually really, really close. You see, even though the gendarme, all the muskets die, gendarme clean up those lancers really nicely. So it's a really close fight all in all. 32 military pop compared to 6 of Mongobillione, but that is most of it coming across the field. GG.
G is called. Yeah, what a fight that last one was. I almost thought that Mongo almost had it because the Lancers were doing so well against the Musketeers, but as you pointed out, the Cuirassiers just do so well against what Spain had. And then the anti-cav, the Rottleiros, were not in that melee fight helping against the Kiers. And then the Dragoons were not focusing on the Kiers either, so it ended up going in the favor of the French.
Yeah, the pikes and rods going all the way around that tree line definitely could have been better. And the goons probably should have been focusing the gendarme. I can appreciate the choice to focus the cannons due to the cannons being protected pretty well by the muskets. But to be honest, you have a lot of lancers there, and your lancers were in an exceptional position. I wouldn't be so worried about the falconets because you didn't have a large infantry mass, and the Falconets really only were in that situation would be effective versus the skirmishers, and your skirmishers, if the muskets are dead, aren't gonna be that key. So yeah, well played by Prince of Kabul. Unexpected. We see a double barracks pike and expo rush followed up by muskets. Well done from him though. He takes the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the series is now evened out 1-1. So this is now match point between the two players. Prince does not have the French civilization at his disposal, whereas Mongobillione may not click into the British. So that does leave us with a few different matchups. We're actually going to be playing on Guatemala now. Really excited for this map. When I first saw the mini map of this, I was really, really interested. 4 lakes in each corner of the map. Corner with quotes, of course, as the maps are circular. But yeah, I have not seen this map played in a competitive setting at all yet. So I'm looking forward to this match, and I want to see what the players bring to the table.
Yeah, Guatemala. Okay, I'm familiar with the map. I played it. I really like it for team, actually. It's one of my more favorite maps. I think it's probably my favorite map of the new ones added, whatever it was, the 5 or 6 that was added. I'm gonna mention AoE2.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot like the 4
Cross.
Lakes map from AoE2. This is true.
It's very much like Cross from AoE2. Yeah. Yeah.
All the players doing all the homework, of course, but
yeah. Apparently, the casters have done a little bit more homework than the players.
I actually did check out the map pool prior to the event, and I was like, I'm trying to figure out, but yeah.
When all of them were released, I played all of them with the in team. Some of them I did not like so much. Which one is it? Where it's the cliffs on the side and then a river down the middle, and there's like crossings all the way. Which one's called? Is that? I don't remember that. Okay, well, that one seemed to be very stalematey. I didn't like it so much. But Serato, I think, is the one that most people dislike.
I'm not sure. We should circle back to that one in a little bit because I am curious to pick your brain on that one. But
all right.
This is exciting to me. I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I honestly really like it.
On team, it's very scrappy, and it like good thought out strategies are really shown on this map because it just tends to be super scrappy otherwise. There are 2 whales in 1v1. There's 2 whales in each of the ponds, if you will, and lots of fish. So water is really good. There's only 2 trade posts, and I believe even on team there's only 2 trade posts. I'm not sure, but the natives are Aztec. So yeah, we'll get into the lobby. The players have seen it. It is I like the map. It allows for a lot of different ways to play the game. Yeah.
One thing that I like about the map as well is that it has a lot of water on it, like a lot of water-based resources.
Yeah.
But the path to your opponent is land. So it's a little bit more of a hybrid map than some of the other water maps that we've had. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I am looking forward to this map for sure.
Yeah, Guatemala. Prince of Kabul has no wins on Japan. Did his teammates not or his opponents not show up for the previous matches or something? No, they did. Why does he say that? I don't understand. You said he played Daniel and
Yeah, he did lose his first game versus Daniel. Let me look at the brackets. He was a high seed, so that may have been his first tournament match.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he beat He beat Gujar, who is a PR. He is a sergeant.
Okay.
He may not have counted that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see Prince. I think he has it in him to win with Japan for sure. But that first game against Mongo was actually a little bit scrappy as well. I feel.
Yeah. 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 I think Mongo. I don't know what it is. He played game one pretty well. I mean, it could have been improved, but like he losing the 3 Hussar red at the beginning of the game was pretty rough. But he threaded the needle well and did well as Brits into Japan. Game number 2, it seems like he's having some micro mistakes, and it hasn't cost him. Well, okay, last game it kind of cost him. It did cost him. It was Falconet's basically going down for free. Not exactly, but practically. Yeah, I hope he can step up his game a little bit. If he does, I could see him taking game number 3 off of Prince of Kabul. Interesting matchup here. Chinese versus Japanese. Mongobillione spawning in green as the Chinese. Prince of Kabul spawning in blue as the Japanese. Yeah, 140 food. Very, very nice. I was playing a game earlier today, and I started with that treasure, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the treasure to pick up as the Chinese player. This is it's going to speed everything up so much, and he found it within the first minute of the game.
Yeah,
So
I believe
very,
it's within
very
sight.
good for him.
At least I think the treasure guardians were at least within sight of the TC. If the treasure itself wasn't, he's gonna. It looks like it was a wood start, so he is going to build a trade post, and he's gonna build a village. So good start for both players. I think it probably favors China, though, a wood start in this situation. You think so?
I think I agree with that. Yes. I think both civs want the wood start, but the wood start does give China a trade post.
Right, yeah. It's obviously good for Japan. No, Japan's not going to be complaining about a
It's
wood start per se.
but it's like better for China, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. A trade post as opposed to not having to gather 102 food, I mean 102 wood, is it? It basically means that Japan's going to age a bit faster, but Mongobillion's economy is going to be significantly better with the shipments.
Yeah.
All right, so getting to the map, we'll take it off of Fog of War, and you guys can see it a little bit. The treasures, there's 50 XP in the back. Prince of Kabul is taking 70 wood. He has not scouted yet, but that'd be really nice for him to pick up. 100 XP is a really nice treasure also. And there's a 40 XP treasure here. 100 coin treasure on the far left. Three fishing boats sent first by Japan, as is expected. And then we'll take a look at the other treasures on the map. 30 coin, 40 XP. Jaguar, Explorer HP, 40 food, and 100 food. So some good treasures out there. And yeah, we obviously haven't really seen this map before in competitive play. But what do you think they might possibly do?
See, I'm just not sure. I've been thinking about it. I think Japan was a really good choice on this map just because of their, they have decent economic options on the sea, but you're not really going to contest. Like think about it. Okay, you have like warships that you can send, right, in Age of Empires 3, but the thing is, like, you're not going to be able to contest any of the other ponds or lakes with those warships.
Yeah, exactly so what Mongobillione was just saying.
Ships. I don't know. It's so up in the air for me, and I'm still thinking about this. I think we're just going to see just some standard, like, Chinese FF versus Japanese FF or semi-FF as well. But everything's just going to be boosted with water play, at least on the Japanese side. If I were Mongobillione, I would try to sneak in a dock, if at all possible, into my build. But the thing is, like, I don't think the players have prepared sufficiently for that kind of, tailored build for this map, which it totally deserves.
Yeah, the players even asking to load in because they weren't sure what the map looked like. I agree with you. Even Mongobillion saying this. Excuse me. Even Mongobillion saying the same thing is funny. You shipped 3 fishing boats, and I won't even know which pond you shipped it to. Yeah. If you were to study it, you would guess that it would be on one of your own size. But you could even ship it to. You could change the location. We see that Prince of Kabul has already changed his. So yeah, if he puts his fishing boats in separate ponds, sending caravels to one pond to take only 3 fishing boats out is not cost effective at all. Not unless like you control that pond and I don't know, you use it to gain map control, put some fishing boats. It's just I really like the choice of Japanese and the fishing boats, like you were saying. That's a nice touch there. It is worth noting he does not have more fishing boats in H2. He does, of course, have the Portuguese consulate, though, that he can send. Yeah, you can go ahead and talk about the War Academy and the pressure perhaps that's coming out of this.
I would have thought we were going to get a fortress agenda out of the Chinese player, but instead what we're seeing is a lot of food and wood being gathered, as well as a 300 wood crate shipment, which is surprising to me. So we'll be seeing some H2 aggression out of the Chinese player, as opposed to just more normal quote-unquote Chinese agenda of fast fortress. Prince, though, needs to be able to spot this beforehand and see it coming if he's going to not get surprised by it. Because he's going for like a full-on, full greed boom. He actually does have a barracks up. I take that back. What does he have in queue? He has some Ashi in queue, which is not exactly the kind of unit you want in a situation such as this one. I think Yumi would be a much better choice, but I don't think he's seen this yet. Now he will, though, as these 8 Chokonu come forward and push the monk away from the shrine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he probably was building the Ashi to try to siege down trade post or just put some pressure on the map, perhaps defend his own shrines. I'm pretty sure he was not expecting H2 aggression. But that's what we see from Mongobillion. And yeah, if we saw anything from last game, oftentimes the unexpected strategy, the strategy that your opponent is not prepared for, can be extremely good. 3 Chukunu going in here, a little bit mismicroed once again. That's a shame to see. Mongobillion would be... Just those little mistakes really add up.
They definitely do. So this is looking like a much better situation for Prince, just based off that, than the first Japanese game he played. A little bit more of an even footing. I feel like that colonial play is a little bit more of Japan's comfort zone than China's. But that is a lot of infantry, though, I will say, for Mongobillion.
Yeah, that's true. We'll take a look at the decks real quick. We hadn't really taken a look at that very much yet. Taking a look at Chinese deck here. He does not have the card units trained faster, which is the main reason why China has a really good eco. He does have 2 war junks, but I don't expect him to send it particularly. Maybe he will, but he's not going to clean up a bunch of fishing boats. His deck, he's even missing an H2 deck if he was trying to go for lots of H2 aggression. So he does have the dock, the East Indiamen, interestingly enough. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I don't really like the choice to fight in H2 as China. But if it throws your opponent off and he doesn't boom very hard, perhaps it can be worth it.
Yeah. See, this is just an interesting scenario right now, just at this exact moment, where China has a significant military advantage just due to the sheer amount of units on the field. But Japan, in the meantime, has a much superior economy. He's got the market upgrades, and he has shrines, and he has more villagers as well. So I think Prince's ticket to winning this game is playing this defensively from this point onward. Stay underneath the town center and try to get a cost-effective fight. Just trade armies. And after that, his superior eco should win him the game because China, I just checked, has no market and has no fishing ships and has no like villager league.
Yeah, we see the economy is 27 to 47, militarily 28 to 25, and it's China on the back foot here. They have lost this fight, and they went from almost double the military pop down to basically even on the military pop. So really, really good stuff from Prince of Kabul. Perhaps a build order error from Mongobillione. He does have a pop of Steppe Riders and Chukunu and Pikes coming forward. One thing I would have liked to have seen is the Pikes are not very effective in fighting, not unless there's Cab on the field. If you can bait your opponent out with your Chukunu, such as fighting where at China's FB when Prince of Kabul came out, if his Pikes were at the base of Prince of Kabul, they could have done a lot of work in a very short time.
Yeah, you're correct. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
But now at this point, like, now the tricky thing is that the steps like have accomplished like nothing. I guess I'll maybe get some siege off on these shrines, but that's not really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things.
300 exports sent now by China. I'm curious what nation he's gonna. He goes Russia. Okay, so Blockhouse or Cossacks. He's gonna send Cossacks.
Yeah, it's gonna be Cossacks.
Yeah.
Which is I think probably one of the better consulate things you can send. I suppose that the British wouldn't accomplish much with their musketeers in this situation, but maybe they would. I don't know.
I'm not sure that the Cossacks would either, due to how many Ashi there are there.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is looking for like a stomp for Prince of Kabul at this point. Those Pikes are sort of dead weight in this situation, and then the economy for the Japanese players just so much better. Not that bad of a fight, though, I will say, for China.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as good of a fight as you could get. Significant military pop advantage. And it looks like Prince of Kabul didn't make many more units, and he's going to lose most of them. But yeah, 55 to 33 military eco pop. So really, really nice out from Prince of Kabul. He does have 3 fishing boats in each pond. He also built a dock on one of the ponds itself. And we see that Prince of Kabul bolsters his army well enough. Mongobillione steps back. And at this point, you haven't put enough pressure on Japan. They have a really strong eco. I think at this point, whether Mongobillione realizes it or not, I think it is kind of game deciding. I think it's pretty over for Mongobillione.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Well, what else could China do in this situation? Maybe sneak in an age up and try to go for that situation, but I don't know that he has enough time to do so. Because at this point, like Japan kind of has a blank canvas. They can age if they want. They can continue the fish boom with the stock. Prince can do kind of whatever he wants, and he'll get away with it. Like, so he just has to play it safe from this point onwards.
Yeah, that's true.
Might need to make like a riskier play and then just kind of work from there, but I don't see what he is aging. Hold on, let me see. No, he queued up a banner army, so he's not going to go to the next stage. So I think he's just going to stick
a standard army. Yeah. I think in his mind, he has to end this game age 2 or it's over. It's already 123 score to 176. It would definitely have to be a big mistake from Prince of Kabul for this game to be lost by him. I'm trying to think of any avenues back into the game. So you'd have to surprise your opponent. Perhaps Pikes and Steppe Riders going in on the opponent's TC in the middle of a fight, and Prince of Kabul not realizing it. and losing the TC and lots of villagers to that would be an avenue back in. But that would also be a Prince of Kabul's mistake. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's up to Prince of Kabul to um, to 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 lose this game or not. If he loses it, I think it'll be on him.
Agreed. Um, I guess another possibility perhaps is Prince aging and then Mongobillion attacking at the perfect exact time. That could maybe bring him back into the game. But I don't think that Prince is even going to age. He just put down a stable and then he will be queuing up some Naginata riders. He actually has a bank, by the way.
A bank, yeah. He also has a church. I guess the church gives you some XP, but I'm trying to think. Is there anything H2 that it gives you?
Gives you style points, perhaps.
So pretty good fight coming in from Japan, I think. You see the Chinese numbers dropping super fast. China dropped 20 military units in the time that Japan dropped 5. And yeah, China's army is all but over. Naginata coming in now, gonna clean up all those Chukonu. Yeah, I think this is all but over. We'll see what he does, but yeah.
I think we'll be seeing a GG out of Mongobillione, and there we go. GG is called. Well played from Prince of Kabul.
Yeah. Looking at the chat, Danzo says the lakes take up a lot of space. Old Han disappoints again. Yeah, one army composition, at least in team, I don't think it's quite as strong in 1v1, but I really like standard army because it is 170 coin, and then whatever 350 food, I think. Here I can actually, I think I can look. Can I? Whatever. 170 food. I believe it's 170 coin, 350 food, and then Old Han is 350 food, 180 wood. So you can spam a lot more armies out doing standard army, which equates to even more Chukunu. And the step riders are very effective at raiding or killing shrines. They do a lot in controlling the map. So I like standard army. You see Old Han disappoints again. Yeah, FF is definitely what was expected. Perhaps Mongobillione was trying to take a page out of Prince of Kabul's book and said, all right, you're going to do the unexpected with France and go pike and crossbow. I'm going to do the unexpected with China and go pike and expo.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Well, it didn't work out, that's for sure, though. So
yeah,
yeah. Congrats to Prince for taking that win.
yeah.
Really,
he takes that win 2-1. Mongobillione does take a game though, so well done from him. We're looking at the post-game stats now. You saw the military tab, you saw the experience tab, the combat XP. Look at the resources gathered is just a huge landslide advantage over to Japan. It is roughly 8,000 resources, a little bit under, but just about. Military unit population, you can see China pretty much had the lead the whole time, but China's units are not very pop efficient. And you saw when it came to actually fighting, those pikes didn't really do much of anything versus the Ashi and the Yumi. So, yeah. Getting over to the villager population, you saw that it just, yeah, once the I guess that was three fishing boats from the consulate, 4 villagers and 4 villagers. Once those were sent in, Prince of Kabul had a significant lead there, but there's also the shrines too. Prince of Kabul fully shrined max pop, so well played from him. He played it safe and he did well.
all right. Yeah.